Whatever stage you're at with your trading, it's important to stop and gain perspective before planning your next move. Take a break from the charts and join in the discussion with our hosts, Jason Graystone and Akil Stokes, as they share insights, opinions, and expertise on all things trading. Grab a coffee, pull up a chair, and join the Trader Coffee Break.
I'm Akil Stokes, and it's good to be back. Been a while. First of the year, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can't hear me, can you? Ah,
You
Akil,
can't.
I thought
Oh
we had
no,
it wrapped.
I can hear you fine.
wrapped.
Oh, we almost did it.
We almost did
with
it.
No hiccups.
We almost did it.
I didn't know.
Man, let's start that again, right?
Welcome
to the Trader Coffee Break, guys. We've just been talking about you for about 5 minutes. But thanks for coming. It's the first one of the year, and we're talking about consistency. So we had a discussion in the live room. It was talking about one of our traders had been very consistent in 2024 so far. Not one bad trade on the journal, and a bad trade being one that defied his trade plan rules, and he felt good. And we were kind of talking about why it's so difficult to be consistent. So I thought that would be a really good topic to kick this year off with, and start there, because I think that's the most important thing that you have to master in trading. But I also do think it is the most difficult, and for many, many reasons. So Akil, I guess my question to you first of all is, why is consistency so hard in trading? Why is it so hard to just stick to a plan and can be consistent?
Well, I think consistency in general is very difficult. Discipline and consistency, I guess we can kind of put those together, because discipline is what typically leads to consistency. It's something that's very hard for us in everyday life. I mean, it's think about a great analogy is always talking about weight loss or fitness, right? It's very hard to stick to that new nutrition plan on a consistent basis. It's easy to do it once, it's easy to do it twice, but it gets difficult when you have urges. It gets boring because it's methodical and it's not fun anymore. And those are kind of like the little demons that haunt you into making you make a mistake. I think I read this in, I think it was a James Clear book, but he was talking about something called the accretia effect. And he says that as human beings, kind of, we're really good at thinking about long-term goals because it's pleasurable. It makes us like, oh, in 5 years, I'm going to have this, or at the end of the year, I'm going to do that. Like we can live in this kind of like dream world, this dream reality where everything's good. But it's very hard for us to take short-term action because there's not necessarily an instant gratification. Like you said, I'm not sure if it was during the first one where you're on mute or the restart, but like,
how dare you?
Every every trade we take, it's an unknown outcome.
Yeah.
So it would be different. It would be very easy to be consistent if we were like, I'm going to take a trade and I know it's going to win because that's pleasurable and we like pleasure. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it again. We're going into a trade and we're like, I may get rewarded or I may not get rewarded. Like I may feel good coming out of this. I may feel bad coming out of this, because most traders are basing their feelings off of the outcome of their trade. So it's very hard to consistently put yourself in a position where you don't know if you're going to get rewarded or not. And as human beings, we typically want to get rewarded. We typically do stuff that makes us or causes us to feel good. So, you know, telling you to do something that could potentially make cool.
Yep. I lost your audio a sec there, Akil.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, been having computer issues. Well, I think I gotta get a brand new system.
Awesome. I can hear you fine now.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's many other, we could list hundreds of reasons why consistency is a problem, but one of the reasons that springs to mind is consistency does require work. Like think about this. You're taking on a new venture, and as you said, it might be fitness, you might be trying to lose some weight, and you might be learning to trade, and whatever it is, you've now got to slot that into your current ongoing life, right? So that's going to require you to shake up your existing lifestyle a little bit. And there is a risk of inconsistencies because it's not that you're breaking the habits that you've been doing every day, and all of a sudden you've now got to slot in this new habit, and it's very difficult for you to make sure that habit is consistent because you're so used to doing other things. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It is a genuine mistake. And I'll give an example in trading where people try to trade lower time frames straight away and they miss stuff because they're still in a meeting, or they're not back from the school run, or they haven't anticipated the traffic on the way back from their job, or, you know, all those kind of things. It's too close to helping you maintain consistency in the new thing. You need to give yourself a bit of buffer and breathing room between these habits to maintain consistency, or do something that's a little bit more delicate, like a higher time frame, or, you know, not as intrusive, like you just go for a walk instead of doing a 2-hour run every day straight off the bat. It's not really going to work. You have to build up to those things. So that's one of the biggest ones I've seen. I'm sure you've seen, you know, that as well, Akil, with people like missing trades and not
all the time. And just like what you said, a lot of it comes because they haven't put themselves in a position where they can give the energy needed to do what they need to do. They think they have, because it's like, hey, I got a 15-minute window in here, I'll just slot it in. But then you don't realize how much work it actually takes. And then not just trading, but your pre-trading, your post-trading, your data entry, your journaling. It is a whole process which allows you to become consistent. You can't just kind of pick bits of that process. I think another hard thing too is belief. And this is something, especially with newer traders, it's hard to do something that you don't really have a belief in. And until you've traded live, and like in Stuart's example, like he's gone through the year, he's taken good trades, he's starting to get that confidence. But we don't have that at first. You know, we can manufacture it. We can kind of, you know, talk to ourselves and make us feel good. We can do stuff like our back testing, our demo trading, maybe live trading with a small account to kind of build it up. But until you're actually in the markets with live money, there's no way you can replicate kind of the feeling that comes with that, eliminate the doubts that say, is this really gonna work? Is it not gonna work? And until you've actually done it. When you've been doing it for years and years and years, it gets easier. You know, like, you know, me and you, we can go through a drawdown, we can take this, we can take that, because we've pretty much seen it all in the market. So we know how to react to it. But experiences are new and you're not quite used to dealing with them yet, which can, you know, just lead to more things that disrupt that consistency.
And this is
drive you insane too.
Yeah,
and drive you insane.
And that's why it's hard, because you're not only doing all of that, but you are moving your life around, and sticking to something new is going to be difficult. And if I relate it to like losing weight, here's the thing. Here's why it's so difficult in trading. With losing weight, you kind of get on the scales the next day and you've de-bloated, and then you go for a run the next day and you drink lots of water, and a few days later you've lost a bit more weight, and you cut down the calories and you're watching your macros, and you go for another run, and 5 days later you've lost a little bit of more weight, right? With trading, you can be consistent for a month and have no returns, right? So it's like, how long have I got to be consistent for before I can start to believe this consistency thing is working? And that is the biggest struggle. I think that's the biggest struggle, because we don't actually know what's going to happen from day to day, week to week, month to month. We just know that we've tested something, and in the historical data, it's proven to have a profitable edge. So I'm doing exactly that going forward. But you don't know, right? You've always got that thing. It's like, I don't know. Is this the last time this is going to be profitable? And that never goes away, never goes, because we can't tell the future and we don't know what the markets are going to do. So that's a big one.
Yeah. I remember I've always looked into kind of like the cyclical nature of the markets, and have tried to make predictions of like, okay, like January through March are always hot, but then like April through June are a slump, so I should stop trading it. And in all my years of trading, I can pretty much pinpoint what my return is going to be end of year, right? December 31st, I can give you a pretty accurate range of like what my return on investment is going to be, unless it's like a super extraordinary year. When it's going to come, I couldn't tell you. I've had years where I've started off January horrible and then built out of it. I've had years where I started off hot and then slumped all through the summer, then picked up again. And again, I can tell you from, I don't know how many years of experience I have now, right? 15 plus 18, I don't know what it is, but like it doesn't end. It doesn't end. We know that we have an edge. We know that our edge will play out over time, but we don't know kind of the journey that it's going to take to get there. We don't know how many ebbs and flows. You may go straight up all year. You may go down and have big pop at the end. We never know that. And again, this is coming from someone with experience dealing with this insanity. Imagine when you don't have it, when you don't have the confidence, like, okay, I know it's bad now, it's going to play out. It's horrifying. And it's so hard to show up to work the next day when you know you might get punched in the face, and then show up to work the next day and you might get punched in the face again. I think that's one of the biggest things we see with traders, where it's like developing a strategy, developing your edge isn't the difficult part. I'm not saying it's super easy by any means, but it doesn't take a rocket science. It takes a lot of work, but the mental discipline of doing it and fighting through that journey is what a lot of traders just aren't built for. And that's why they fail. And a lot of them are also by themselves. So that's the problem. They don't have channels like this where they can come to, where people are telling you real statements and you'd be like, okay, yeah, I have been through that. That is cool. You got people out there telling you that, like, oh, you lost 5 trades in a row. Oh, that should never happen. You should be profitable right away. And they're filling your mind with this nonsense that just, and it's what you want to hear. And to a certain extent, some people want to hear it, and you'll go to whatever you want to hear. But that's the thing I hate about kind of the nonsense out there from these fake traders, is they're beating you down if you lose. You should never lose 2 trades in a row. Like, what are you talking about? But because you don't know any better, you believe it, and then you ditch what you were doing, and then you try to find the next thing, and you restart the cycle. And then you still have to deal with the problem no matter what. And it doesn't matter how you trade. You still have to deal with the problem of that being consistent day in and day out.
Yeah, and that's what drives you insane. Like, that is what drives you absolutely nuts, because it's a real battle. There's no one to tell you this is definitely your future. This is definitely going to work for you. There's no one to give you that. So at best, you've got a mentor who's telling you, this is what I did. If you're consistent and you just trade the plan and trust the system, the probability is this of you returning this X amount on your account, and that's it. Like, Does that fill you with enough confidence? Because it has to. It has to, because that is as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets, right? So if you're searching for something more than that, don't hold your breath. And second of all, I think, like, I know that's what drives you insane. The other consistency thing that I just want to mention is your urge to make profits quickly, right? Because you keep trying to change things, or you keep breaking things, or you lose a trade and then you think there's another one. I know it's not part of my plan, but I could make back what I just lost, and you'll go in the trade. I've done that, and we've all done that. I know we've all done that, but that's another example of breaking consistency. And it's only when you realize that breaking consistency is breaking your consistent profits that you can start to think, actually, I owe it to myself here now to just not make any mistakes, trust what I've done, trust the data, and let's just give myself 3 months, 6 months, a year of doing this with no bad trades. And if you do make a bad trade, make sure that you're on track for the next one. You've learnt from it and moved on. And the advice that I can give to anyone who's struggling with consistency is just get around a really good network of traders. Like, get around a great community of traders, professional traders, people who are taking this seriously, people who have this, not the, tell me if euro's going up kind of thing, not that kind of community. I'm talking about a community where everyone's really developing. The tier 1 community just blows my mind. The level, the caliber of the traders in that community is just top level. They're professionals. They are developing and working. They're asking logical questions, solid questions. And I'm really, so glad to be part of that community myself. And I can definitely see how it helps people with consistency.
I'll tell you this, we on the Monday Q&A we brought in Fitzys shared with us some of his stats from 2023 full year trading live, and in the email I was CC'd on it, or you were as well. He had his accountability partner where he said, hey, we've had like weekly calls, weekly Zooms, whatever, weekly check-ins for the last 4 years. And his accountability partner was saying, hey, I'm so proud of you for having a profitable year. All your hard work that no one else sees has paid off. And what he did was he shared with us kind of a brief stat sheet of what he did. And he had his equity curves on there, whatever like that. But it also had a column of his good trade performance where he would rank his good trades, where he's like, hey, first quarter, I think he was like 73% good trades. And like second quarter was like 85. And like third quarter was back down to like 80. Then fourth quarter was like 95 or something dumb. And we looked at it, and the cool thing is you lay out that quarter by quarter good trade kind of percentage, and you look at his equity curve, and you can see a direct correlation. You can see he dipped in the middle of his year where that good trade percentage started to dip. The last quarter was on fire. He skyrocketed when he had the 95%, whatever it was. So as Jason was saying, like stuff like that, if you make it a game where it's like, okay, quarter 1, 3 months, I'm going to try to get 100% consistency. Okay, I got 80. Okay, next month or next quarter, I'm going to go for 85. You start making that the game where you're just working on consistency and taking good trades and doing the stuff that you're supposed to do and grading yourself on that, or giving you a percentage on that. And then look at the equity curve second. And I think you'll be pretty surprised at what happened. And you see the correlation between like, wow, I'm starting to trade better. My results are better because I'm actually trading better. And then once you get that belief, I know if I'm looking at that, once I see 95% and I see all the profit I made in Q4, I'm never going back to 70, man. I'm like, okay, this is the secret. Do what I'm supposed to do and just lock in on making that percentage, trying to get that percentage as close as you can to 100. It may not be 100. I'm never 100 for a year. I do silly stuff all the time. I enter a buy when I should be selling because I'm rushing, or, I miss a level of structure to the left. We're human beings, but you want to make it as high as possible. And I think if you make that the game and have an accountability partner you share with, like, hey, I'm going to check in with you every month and show you my stats. I think that's a good kind of combination to keeping you on that consistent track. Now you're doing the right things and you're having someone check you to ensure that you do the right things.
Yeah. Amazing. But that's a great way to end this conversation, I think. That is so good. Make the consistency the thing that you track, not necessarily the profits. And we've had multiple accountability groups and Friends for Life set up in that community. Peter Stone and Steve Fitzsimmons have been accountability partners for years, and they met inside Tier 1 trading, and it's been life-changing for them. So really inspiring to see, and there's many others. So absolute solid advice. I love that. And guys, if you do struggle with consistency, let us know in the comments exactly what it is that you struggle with. What is getting in the way? What's causing that lack of consistency? Is it belief? Is it your daily routine? Is it your lifestyle? Is it your, is it just your FOMO? What is it? So let us know in the comments, and we'll be back next week with another rant and a great topic to discuss with you guys. And
without the mute button on.
Without the mute button on.
I'll never let you live that down.
And until then, guys, take care. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you then.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media. And remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.